Phil, you're looking very serious.
I'm working out the technical stuff.
And you're looking very serious.
We're getting there.
Oh.
I got it posted everywhere, so I was focused.
That's cool. Can you see my, if I do that, can you see the Phil and Phil show sign all right there?
You can see the incredible Phil and Phil show sign there. Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Phil, I feel the need to, have you got your tuning forks handy?
Oh, yeah, just a sec. Where did I put them? I was using them. Oh, there they are. They basically follow me around everywhere.
So yours stainless steel or are they aluminium?
I think they're aluminum.
Because I was reading about aluminum and they don't give you a true sound.
No, maybe not then. There's some type of alloy. You know, she really figured it out, this lady. So.
Oh, cool.
You just need to tune in a little bit, huh?
Oh, man. Oh, it's a bit flat today, Phil. You know what, Phil? We are live. That's good, because I was going to say we should be doing this on the show, really.
Terry, you're welcome to stay there. That's fine. Just hang out there on the beach, I see, in Hawaii, it looks like. So I know you're muted right now. I can unmute you if you're quiet. So there you go. But we're going to just do a little Phil and Phil activity. You can stay there or you can come back. It's up to you. So
I'll stay.
Hey, how you doing, Tara?
Hi.
Phil, I've just got a little activity for me and you to tune into each other, right? I've got some coloured mirrors, colour spray here.
Okay.
I'm just going to hover my hand over the top and you tell me when to stop.
Okay, I'm just going one time. I'm just going to okay, technical stuff. All right, go ahead.
Just say stop.
Stop.
Oh, man. Oh, we have got some. So the coloured mirrors set, this is called, we can talk about this further. This is called Clear Angel. And I'm just going to spray this just to get a bit of clarity and see. You have to choose one where there's not much in the bottle. So these are really,
man. Just so awesome.
These are really powerful transformational sprays from the colour therapy system. Now feel this, Phil. I'm going to do it for you, but you feel.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm 100% there, man.
Oh. Is that enough or do you want another one?
That's right there, buddy. It's good.
Even colour therapy sprays work across the internet.
Oh, of course they do.
It's amazing. Oh.
So what are you doing? You been outside?
Yeah, I've just been adding a few new touches to see if I do that. So I'm just gonna turn my screen to there. Yeah. Yeah, I've just been getting some different clips for clipping up my background, and then I went and made a smoothie, and then I went and did some kettlebells.
I got some grapefruit juice here.
Oh,
so
wow.
yesterday I picked up 4 cases of grapefruit. So we have one of those hand pressed juices. We're gonna juice them on, then we're gonna freeze it, So we
Oh,
do
wow.
just like this thing. We just put like a little bit in the bottom of the jar and fill it up. So
Oh, wow.
so good. Yeah, and the local, local grapefruit. So
Ship us some over, Phil, if they're local.
I'll send you some more.
Send me
And the
some
other
local.
thing I got and I had to share was I posted this on Facebook. We got this case of figs, man.
Oh, Phil, you can't do that.
Just take a bite. Come on. It's so good, man. Oh.
Oh, Phil, that is cruel, man. If we weren't on lockdown, I'd be over just to eat the figs.
I know. big flat, a whole flat of them. So
Wow.
good.
Well,
Local.
in here, Phil, I've got some local wild blueberries from Canada.
Oh, nice. Wild blueberries, yeah. They came
Yeah,
a long way to hang out with you there in England.
Well, they're local. Well, they were local.
They were local. When they were growing, they were local to the bush.
When they were picked, they were local.
That's great.
Yeah, I thought I'd just have I couldn't be bothered with a salad tonight, so I just thought I wanted a little bit of bulk, so I thought I'd have a smoothie.
Great.
There's a lot of energy around, isn't there?
Oh, there's so much energy. It's like so much fire and so much passion. And I think it's just like we have such an opportunity like to turn it inward. Oh, where did Phil go?
I was moving Phil and Phil.
Yeah, we have so much energy to turn this inward, and it's really just about, I think we just gotta, I feel myself being pulled into the energetic, and it's like I keep reminding myself, come back to center, come back in. This is like slow it down. And it was just reminding, I was just thinking, I wanted to talk a little bit about breathing.
Yeah.
And I kind of been getting into a different type of breathing, the Butenko method or oxygen advantage. This book, I just brought this book along, so I'm going to talk about this a little bit. And it's kind of, I was thinking about it like there's an analogy that when we eat too much food, we don't get more nutrition. And it's the same breathing. When we over breathe and we try and breathe too much, we don't get more oxygen. It's like we don't. Yeah. It's not the way the body works. And actually, when we slow it down, we only breathe through the nose, which is kind of the premise here. Is we slow it down, we actually breathe less. We actually get more oxygen absorption, because when we breathe less and we breathe properly through the nose, we actually get a full breath that goes deep into the body. And I just kind of thinking of the analogy of like you think about a top athlete, you don't see them panting. Like the person you see panting is the unhealthy person.
Yeah, right.
They're over breathing, but the efficient person is like they're breathing really slowly and gently through the nose, or like a yogi. Like they're not over breathing; they're breathing through the nose.
Well, I was watching Iyengar talking about the breath and breathing, and he's like, you breathe in through your nose and you breathe out through your nose, and your mouth is for eating.
Exactly.
It's really interesting, and it's the same with that philosophy, isn't it? Of the less you eat, the more nutrition you get, and the simpler. And when I say the less you eat, the simpler. So like you're just eating figs, or you're just eating grapefruits, or you're just eating bananas, or you're just eating, or you had maybe 2 or 3 things. But once you get over that, you're not getting more nutrition.
Yeah, because it gets a little bit, it's information. We're taking that information. It's like, wow, it's a really good analogy. It's like trying to read 5 books at once. It's like, we can't take all of that in. It's like slowing down, getting into nature and just being with the space in that moment, and then just absorbing that moment is enough. We think we need to get, I gotta get more stuff. I gotta watch more videos. I gotta get all these opinions in. It's like, probably don't need any of them.
Yeah, right. We have to, we just have to learn to listen to ourselves. And that's, I was thinking again, Pete, I was talking to my friend Pete today, Phil. Well, obviously we were talking about lockdown, and we were talking, I haven't spoken to him since before all this started. So it was really interesting now. And he's been saunaing he's been doing cold, the cold bath therapy. So he's now got up to 14 minutes of sat in ice water. He's been doing coffee enemas. He's been doing smoothies, juices. And he's kind of on our wavelength, which is, for some of us, this lockdown has been an amazing opportunity to actually stop. I mean, bless you, I don't think you've had much of a chance to stop, but for me, literally on the Monday in England on the lockdown, I had on the Monday I went to see my girlfriend's parents and did a little job for them, and then another mate of mine, I had his garage doors held up with some bits of timber, so I had to rush over to his house to sort those out on the Tuesday. And then Tuesday night, it was like, wicked, I can fast now because I'm not allowed to go to work. I mean, when else do you get an opportunity really like this to go, man, this is amazing. The whole world's just given me the opportunity to stop. And people aren't phoning up going, oh, you really shouldn't be working, or you're lazy, or you're this, or you're that, or you're the other, which they always do. It's just like, oh, so Phil, what are you doing in lockdown? You must be getting so bored. And I'm like, man, I've got so much to do. I'm fasting. And people are just looking like you're a lunatic. But this is the opportunity that I'm saying to people. This is the opportunity that you've got. When can you do a 40-day fast? When, for those of us that can't work, as you know, Phil, I did 38 days of water fasting, but I did 16 hours a day of dry fasting, and I think I did that in total for over 50 days. But you can't do that when you're working. So I've been doing lemon enemas, and I've been doing juice and smoothies and rebounding and meditating, and all those things that actually you can't do. It's really hard to be able to do prolonged anything for our evolution, in this modern world. It's tough. So for me, it's got me thinking, I suppose thinking deeper of being a builder. And I spent, since I was at the tree with you in 2005, it's like, how do I stop this? Well, I think I'm twice now, right? I've asked this question packed full of emotion, and I've said to God, how do I stop being a builder? And both times I've had my tools stolen out of my van.
Oh, wow.
So God said, this is really easy, Phil. You just don't go to work. So what I've learned is you've got to really, if you're going to load that question with passion, you have to be really clear. And the question was supposed to be, how do I evolve and grow into what I'm supposed to be doing? Because actually not doing what you're already doing is really easy. You stay in bed, you do something else, you go hang out with your friends. That's easy. But how do you actually evolve and do something constructively that in this world is going to bring you an income?
Mm-hmm.
So and that's the reason why I got on you and said, Phil, come on, this is an opportunity for us. People are consuming social media like it's going out of fashion. So let's create content for them to consume.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what you're sharing is just that mindset of like, what's the opportunity? Like the stuff going on, we could go with that energy and get angry and get passionate, or we could choose to go inward and choose to transform. And I think that's our mindset. I mean, we've been doing this lifestyle for 20 years, and it's just like, all right, we have an opportunity to transform ourselves, to turn it around. And it's like, we touched on last week, there's a lot of anger and energy. And then I was like tuning into that, and I was like really respecting that energy right now. It's kind of like people are in the midst of the argument. And I think as people settle down, as the energy comes out, like just like the volcano, like new growth is going to come. Like people are so mad and angry, and it's like, but that was inside of them. That's inside, and it had to be processed to come out. But we're going to go into a whole new realm, and that's what's really exciting.
Phil, it's really exciting at the moment. I was talking to a friend of mine Pete again was talking about the astrology. And actually, the astrology, when all this kicked off, was the astrology of it was the astrology of awakening. It was a real opportunity for humankind to evolve and awaken. So there's all this distraction going on, so we can all focus outside and not come inward to awaken.
Right.
So, you know, and for those of us that are on that awakening path, yeah, I love astrology, but I don't follow it and I don't get it that much, but I certainly understand the opportunities. And for some of us, we're just like, grab that opportunity. I didn't know that it was all I didn't know that the astrology was lining up for transformation.
Right.
But yet I was doing transformation. So it's, you know, it's so exciting.
Yeah, and I think we're all waking up like this. Well, many are waking up from this dream spell. We've been under this dream spell, and like sometimes when you wake up and you're just like grumpy and you don't want to get up, like that's what's happening right now. It's like that spell is breaking, and like there's people get out and then they're like, well, wait a minute, like, is that what I'm supposed to feel? Like, what am I feeling? Like, there's so much energy moving as we're going through this mass awakening, and this time has been foretold. You know, it's really cool. So, but yeah, like, I mean, we're gonna jump into the kind of the topic if that's good with you, Phil, and I'm gonna.
Yeah. I was just thinking now. Yeah, let's.
So I'm
Tara
gonna introduce Tara a little bit. Let me just unmute her, and then. Did I do it? Oh, no, I just muted and unmuted. I got there.
So Phil.
So I was going to say a little bit about Tara Rose here. She's definitely awoken from the dream spell a long time ago. So I first saw Tara Rose 10 years, it was about 10 years ago, maybe. It was at the Longevity Now Festival.
Oh, wow.
I can't hear you, Tara. Just say something.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's about 10 years ago to Longevity Festival. But it's pretty much the only thing I remember from that festival. There's a lot of cool things, but you weren't even a scheduled speaker, I don't think. They put you on the stage for like 20 minutes and you were just so passionate and so alive. And it was just like, God, I want to be like that. I want to be like so passionate and alive and just vibrant. And it just stuck with me, and it went into my, and I was like, I like this person. I don't know who you were, just like, I like you, you know? So.
Thank you.
And now just watching you unfold and watching your continual work, and I know you've been through a lot. You've built businesses and lost businesses, and you've built communities and lost communities, and you never give up, and you're so positive and energetic, and just coming out to your space in Phoenix the other day and helping plant trees, and the work that you're doing with children, and then you're coaching people to just be their best, be their vibrant, best, incredible selves. And I love what you're doing because you're really evolving out loud, which was kind of the previous topic of today, which is what Phil and I are doing. Like, we just need to step out and be our brilliant selves. And I think you're a great example of somebody doing that. And I don't really know what else to say, but maybe you can jump in and talk about the work that you do. And yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be on with you guys. And I love the topic of evolving out loud, because I think that's the call of our times right now, is to be authentic and be just all of ourselves. And authenticity is kind of an older word, right? But just shining that brilliance when it's messy and when it's put together, and just being ourselves. And I've been seeing this phrase so much lately in my inbox specifically, or just on social media, of do the work. And I was reflecting on that, and it's like, you know, let's move away from the idea of doing the work and let's just live our lives, right? Like, let's move away from this concept of like, it's gonna grind and it's gonna be work. And it's like, no, like, let's just settle into the idea of consistent mastery, but not mastery from a position of like, oh, I have to be perfect, just mastery from the space of evolving out loud. And so I love what you're saying about that and how you guys have come together with this, and you're just so freeform and honest and real, and it's just so special, and more of what the world needs, in my opinion. So thank you to both of you, and kudos for starting this and running with it and just being you. That's amazing to me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really feel your passion and your words there. You know, thank you. That means a lot.
Absolutely. So, you know, as you said, do we have like a Phil A and B or 1 and 2, or like, how do we do this?
We're just Phil and Phil.
Okay, so I'll just go for it. So as Phil was introducing me and saying yes, and I think one of the most powerful things I've been through includes the loss. And it's fascinating to watch how you can build things and love something so much and lose it, and it feel like you're losing part of yourself, right? Part of you dies because part of you has been expressed out in the world. And visions, I believe, always come to fruition, but they're never what you imagine in the first place. And sometimes they're much shorter lived, and a lot of times they're bigger and grander than what you expect. And I find the shorter lived ones are the ones that were there to just teach you and help you evolve as a person, so that you would be ready for the next vision to come and ready for the universe to really sweep you up in that momentum and flow and energy and all of that. And so we're talking about sharing more about community building in the new world. Is that where we want to flow today?
Just whatever. Yes. I love that topic. And I was in, so I was at Giving Tree Cafe. I got my shirt on today. And yeah, you've been there? You've been to Giving Tree?
Yes, and I love it.
Yeah, so David, the owner there, it's such a beautiful man. His heart is just so open, and he comes and greets every person that comes in and just says, "How you doing?" and just like sits down, and he's such a loving guy. And I decided it was my birthday this week on Wednesday, 44, which is a cool number. I'm just loving that number right now. And it was like, we're gonna go to Giving Tree and we're gonna have a party. And we ended up I think it was like 8 people. And one of my good friends came, and she brought her friend, and she was actually pregnant. So there was like a 10-week, baby inside a womb there at the table too. So that was just really fun. And we were just kind of talking at the table of like what's gonna come out of this. Like there's a lot of chaos and craziness, and there's, we could focus on the dream spell and the dark potential, or we could be like, well, what new is going to come out of this? What new things are going to be birthed? We have a new opportunity where I think people are going to come together and start building communities and start doing things more together. Like we're going to break out of this. I mean, we're doing this digitally right now, but we're going to break out more of that and go, oh, we need to have real conversations. I'm just like looking at all the conversations on social media, and they're just like moments, or like the sound bites that have no depth, and then people are fighting about those sound bites. Oh, you said this and you said this, and it's like it's not the depth of either side, and then they're arguing about that. And it's like, well, anyway, so what's going to come out is this new world where we're going to have these connections, these deep connections, and we're going to start building communities and farms, and we're already seeing some of that where people are starting to grow their own food. And so yeah. Sorry. So that's, yeah. And I think, how are we going to evolve this? Like, what are we going to do to bring this forth and help people to just shine their light? So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I've been reflecting on this since we talked about this topic a little bit, just breaking apart what really will it take? And there's, these different schools of thought, like you're saying, it's this or it's that, and there's no real depth to it. And then we talk about unity and solidarity, and what does that really mean? And I think such a big piece of it truly is getting into our own heart centers first and foremost, and creating such a unity inside of ourselves and a solidarity inside with what we know to be true, of connection with ourselves, our hearts, our energy, getting our brain and our hearts in the coherence. Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton talk all about this. So there's meditations and things that we won't go into necessarily today, but those can of course be looked up and utilized. But really coming to this place of living the mastery every day, and really reducing the noise in the background of our own minds. That's like, oh, I can't or I won't. or I shouldn't, or whatever little thing is spinning from the old paradigm, and saying, no, I'm going to continue to do this internally. And then I am going to take that and learn how to use my voice to cast the vision in my heart. And I believe we have to be talking about what we see so much more. And I know that for myself, for a long time, I was really good at it. And then there were many people who decided that my big energy was too much and they had lots to say about it. And so I just shut up. I did. And I stopped talking and I started doing all the details myself. And this was several years ago. And I shut down. And so coming out of that was this process of, okay, realigning, of course, those pieces inside. And then saying, okay, I'm going to keep casting this vision, and then hearing other people's visions. And we're like, oh my gosh, there are so many people who want the exact same thing. They want to grow their medicinal food. They want to ferment their spirulina. They want to, rehabilitate the soils and build communities and have these beautiful places. And everybody wants real living water. And if they don't know it yet, when they hear it, that thing inside of us that just knows truth is like, done. Yes, I want that. I don't even know what it is yet, but I want it. And so for the people, like you mentioned at the beginning, who have been out of the dream for a while, it's so important that everyone's using their voice, I believe, more and more, and casting that vision and getting really comfortable with casting that vision, so that, again, we can just bring it together in a very authentic place. And then also have languaging when we're in these communities that is non-shaming around, hey, there's still some operational patterns going on in the back of your world that might be of the old paradigm. And here's where I want to invite you up. But not in a way that's wishy-washy, right? That's like, oh, well, it's okay, because it's not. We can't live, in my opinion, in that paradigm anymore. And like Phil was saying around the inward transformation, right? You're talking all about how now you get to fast and you get to do these things, and doing these things in community, when someone could maybe take your garden tasks for a couple of days because you're in the middle of fasting, right? Like, how glorious will that be when we have these other people to connect into right there? And I do think there's going to be a process of this as we're shedding, having new language to connect with. But that's not, I sometimes in the spiritual communities, we can get wishy-washy with our language, right? And it can be so almost like, everything's great. And I'm not putting anything down. I'm just saying, in this moment, we have to ground. We have to be so grounded in the way we communicate through deep love, but fierce passion and clarity for how we move forward. So we can live in that brilliance, which that word, of course, means light and genius, just living in your genius and living in your light. So that's kind of my initial thought on starting to build this, of course, starting here, like you were talking about, and then how do we cast that vision, and how do we share what we see so we can actually start to build it? And then discovering who wants to do what. Everybody has these different skill sets. And so some people are the ones to put their hands in the dirt. Some people are the ones to lead, and being really real with that, because we're coming from a society and a culture that says be good at everything or you're not valuable. And so we have to step out of that and be like, what do I actually love? What am I actually good at? And letting ourselves just be so on fire about that. And that's not saying not to try other things, but I think we've just come to a place where it's like, be good at everything, or like super siloed and just be good at this one thing. So really allowing this to start to dance more so we can dance together.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, actually. And I'd like you just to say that again for everyone, is that point where actually we need to focus on what we're good at. And we're not supposed to be good at everything. We're not supposed to do everything. We're not an island. We need to be in community. And if each one of us is kind of an island within the community, then we become whole. But if we're an island out on our own in the middle of the ocean, then we're done. So to focus on what we're good at. And that's the same thing with me and Phil. We've naturally took it in turns. And Phil's good at things that he didn't know he was good at, and I'm good at things that I didn't know I was good at. And together, all of a sudden, we just find each other doing those things, and we go, oh yeah, I've done that. And it's like, oh, great. So yeah, I think that really got me, what you were saying there about that point, which is focus on what we're good at. Or you know, pay attention to what people are telling us we're good at. Pay attention to what we enjoy doing. And if we don't enjoy doing it, either learn another way, find a friend, or just don't bother doing it.
Absolutely. And I think also encouraging each other as we do that, because we are coming from a society that says these certain things are wonderful, and when you're good at these things, you're valuable and you'll be loved for that. But if you're good at this thing, then you're not as cool, or you're not as valuable, or whatever. And for and for me, for a long time, like I remember I had a friend in 2012 and he's like, you're a joy alchemist. You bring joy to people. Like, that's what you do. And I'm like, you can't make a job out of that. That's stupid. Like, I was like, I need to be way more scientific, and I need to fall in line with this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, now there's science to joy. And back then there really wasn't. And so I struggled a lot with that. And it's like, oh, well, I don't want to be somebody who just brings joy. That sounds so dumb. You know, who wants that? I mean, everybody apparently, but so coming from that space and understanding what that felt like, now can we take that into maybe what other people are going through? And I'm curious if there's people commenting on Facebook. I'd love to know, is there something you're good at that maybe doesn't feel cool, or it's so innate to who you are, it feels almost too easy, right? Is that coming up, like, oh, I'm just naturally good at this thing, and that can't be the thing because it's too easy. We've also, I think, been so trained that it's got to be so hard, right? Do the work. But really, mastery is simple when we're just living the life and being ourselves and exuding our own brilliance and passion and love.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the casting of vision, because I'm just like, the opposite has been like the spell that I was talking about. A spell has been cast over people. And as we start to cast the vision for ourselves and to each other, when we start to shine, it's going to help elevate. And I think I really tune into is this. I think I'm supposed to be more technical and have more information or have more knowledge, but like when I'm best is when I just start to, you know, to shine like that, like joyful and just inspiring people and telling people how amazing they are and just reminding people. And it's like, that's where I start to shine. But I'm thinking, well, you know, it's not very, you know, like you say, it's not very scientific. I can't make a life of that. And it's like, well, that's just who you are, you know? And then when you're trying to do these other things, it's not who you are. You're like kind of down and stuck and trying to logic it out. I'm not like a logical person. I'm just like, I go for my heart most of the time. And when I'm best, when I do share my heart, like it comes out. So, yeah.
Phil,
Like that video you made.
Phil, can I just interrupt there? Have you got the chat on for people on Zoom?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything right now. So.
That's fine. I was just checking. Thank you.
What video was that, Tara?
Oh, a couple months ago, you made the I am light, I am divine.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's just like a little meme, and it's just like, I don't know, it got thousands of views. It was just like, okay, people need this information. People are hungry to be told you are enough. You are beautiful. You are divine. And like, people are hungry for that because they haven't been told that. Like, you're not good enough. And you need to go to school, and you got a B. And so that means you're not good enough. And you screwed up on your job, and you messed up here. And like, and now you've got acne, so you're unhealthy, and it's like boom, boom. It's just like we're constantly being hit with like, you're not enough, you're a problem, and it's just like, let's turn that around and go, let's recognize how amazing each person is. The uniqueness in each person is, we're just phenomenal. Like there's so much, and that spark is in everybody. That spark of light, that spark of love, that spark of the divine is in every single person. Because we can look out there and say, oh, that person's evil, and it's like, that's just a shell. That's not the truth. And that like, and I really believe that, like the soul within, sure, some people have got some darkness over them, and that's going to work through, but within each person, the soul is pure. There is a spark of the divine in everybody. And can we bring that out in as many people as possible? And maybe some people won't make it, but as many as possible, you know? Yeah.
Definitely. And I think such a big part of it is letting ourselves, right? Each and every one of us listening to this right now, shine more, give more. And every time that I'm like, oh, I think I might be done writing for the day or might be done sharing, what goes on in my head is again, again, again. And I just believe that when we're in the vibration, now this is different than the grind of again, right? This is that flow, that heart, that all in. And we just again, like more, how much more can I give of myself? And I think that in self-development lately in the last several years, there's been like this whole kind of concept of hold yourself back and don't give too much. And it's so critical in my mind that if you're connected into source, which is ever flowing through you, right? Just keep like shining more and more and more. Like there is no end to it. There is no getting drained. And of course we want to take time in nature and connecting into those things. And first and foremost, I believe it's most important to connect to that. So you're not giving from a false sense of energy. You're really truly giving from the vibrance inside. But I agree with you, and I'm just loving that cast a vision, not a spell. Like you completed that, and I was like, oh yeah, like that's it, right? We're breaking open that spell, and instead we're casting a vision for what can be seen and what can come next. And we each have those, and each person has their intricate part. And like Smoothie Phil, I'm gonna call you Smoothie Phil, and you're gonna be grapefruit juice Phil today. That helps me.
Sounds great.
And like, Smoothie Phil was saying, I just totally lost my train of thought because I was so excited about your beverages.
Well, what you're saying there was just that again and again and again, and it's not like this, oh, I gotta keep working until I gotta do my 10 hours a day and like go through the grind. And no, it's totally different than that. It's as we tap into this infinite energy, it's like it's a continual flow, and it wants to keep flowing out of you. Like you want to keep, because it's like, oh, that feels good. It feels good to say positive things, and it's uplifting and inspiring. But then you get like you're doing a grind of a job, or you're getting into the negative stuff. It's draining. It drains the energy. And I feel like I get my pulled into like all of the conspiracy stuff, and it's just like, it's good for a minute, but then okay, got to get back to center. Got to get back to that creative flow that will uplift everybody and create community. So.
Yeah, and I see that again and again, sort of being what starts to overwrite those old patterns in us of like we shine a little, we give a little, and we're like, like too much. Oh. Like I don't know, like that might have been a lot, and then we're just like, doesn't matter, because we're just sharing. And anyone who, I like to think about like ourselves as like sunshines, and like we're whole beaming out, and people can walk through the light as they want, and then they can go elsewhere, or they can sit and get a tan or whatever they want to do and bathe in it and then ignite their own. But it's not up to us to dampen that. It's up to other people to choose to participate or not. And Tiffany just asked where she can see the I Am video. Is that something you can post in the Phil and Phil show group?
Yep, I will.
All right, cool, Tiffany. Thanks for asking. It's awesome. So,
It just reminded me of the you just reminded me of Our Deepest Fear poem by Marianne Williamson. I'll just read the last paragraph there. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Then there's this other, we're just all meant to shine. It's just children of God. We're born with, it's just, yeah. I'll post that whole thing later, but we're just born to shine.
Born to shine. I love that. That was hanging on my wall from the time I was like really young. My mom put it on my wall, and I read that all the time. And for so long, I was like, I have no idea what that means, and then finally I was like, yes, okay, I get it. This is amazing. Just letting ourselves be the permission, and we don't need to give permission. It's just being the permission because we're giving it to ourselves.
And it's interesting you're talking about this because I didn't realize that, but I put this shirt on, and I showed it to Phil earlier. And this shirt is, I don't know if you guys can see in this light or not.
I think you have to stand up. Oh.
So this shirt says Wild Heart. And it was a festival that a friend of mine organized, and it was called Wild Heart. And here is the deer's head. And this is the deer's antlers.
Oh, wow.
I get closer. And then you can see here all the different animals.
That's beautiful.
So that's the God, I don't know, I can't see it upside down very well. I think there's an owl in there. So it's just all, so there's this, and you know what you're talking about being brilliant. This was all about, you know, let your wild heart out. Be, you know, be wild, dare to dance, dare to be joyful, dare to share, you know, dare to be the best you can.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, get that wild heart out. So we used to do this out in the English countryside, near the woods, near lakes. And we all used to go, and, you know, he phoned me up one day, said, Phil, I'm organising a festival. Can you bring your thing? I was like, what's my thing? He's like, I don't care. Just bring it with you. Have a stall and bring your thing with you. I was just like, wow, okay. So that was 2008 we did that. And that was, I created I took superfoods and raw foods and crackers and activated seeds. And I was the raw food nutter at the festival. And then in about 2013, I was doing one, and this guy walked up to the stall and he said, you should do really well at this festival because it's renowned for raw food. And I didn't tell him that I was the nutter that took raw food to that festival. And so yeah, it was just about everyone doing their, you know, my friend had this vision, you know, and it was brilliant. And we went, and there was a whole array of us doing all different things to create a community in the English countryside for 4 days.
Wow.
And we used to do that twice a year. We used to do it on Beltane, which is May the 1st. And the other festival, which I can't remember the name of it, which is in the middle of September, which is the equinox, the autumn equinox. So we used to do it twice a year. And yeah, so just shine, be brilliant, bring that wild, you know, and I love that, bring that wild heart out and dare, you know, dare to be wild, dare to be your authentic self.
Absolutely. I love your shirt, and I love that connection into just the wildness. And I was just talking to my brother yesterday, but I've had a lot of conversations about being wild and the difference between our domesticated nature and true wild, right? So there's a cute theme, and I think that, you know, when you get into raw foods and you get, you know, into foraging, you're so much closer to the real wild than some of this cute, like, wild stuff that we see today in branding. But it's fascinating to get into this, like, wild heart and the animals and the truth of nature. And when we get into that, we're like, oh, and we can look to nature to mimic our communities, because we say, oh, wow, nothing in nature wants, right? There's so much abundance in nature, like everywhere we go, when we're really authentic about it and when we turn our lens from what we've been told to what's real. And I just love that, because I think that concept too can be brought into the new communities being built, is just that opulence, health, beauty, abundance, just that connection to there's always more than enough. And there's so much here for us if we just turn our focus back to what's a little bit more wild. Only in domestication do we have lack. And I think that lack causes that mentality across so many lines of especially community and how we can connect. And is there enough for me? Is there enough for me and my family? Which of course is a valid question, especially in deep times of fear. However, we can say it's actually not as real as it feels, right? We actually have so, like, you open a bell pepper, right? Like, come on, that's a domesticated food, but still, you open a bell pepper and think there's like 100 seeds in there with all this potential. I get obviously very excited about this, but it's like, oh my gosh, like, right? And not every seed's going to grow, but a lot of them are. And then you're going to have all these more bell peppers. It's just like you have a million bell peppers in one bell pepper. And coming around of that, and I love your topic of the wild and coming back to that wild heart and connecting into that and just that deep commitment to
So
it.
to add into that thing about looking to nature, I had a friend of mine, and he was a dairy herdsman on a biodynamic farm. Even though I don't consume animal products, it was really interesting talking to him, and he was talking to me about dairy, the size of herds and the community. Now, I'm not going to get the exact number right, so if anyone knows more than me, do great. I think it was once the herd got over 38 members, they become dysfunctional.
Interesting.
It's really interesting. So all cows have horns on, all cows. So if you see a cow that hasn't got a horn, it's had the horns cut off.
Okay.
Because once they get over 38 cows, they get dysfunctional. So they then start to lash out at each other with their horns. But when they're under that number of 38 or up to that number of 38, the horns on the cows aren't a problem. So it's really interesting. But so then they did some research of the difference between non-organic dairy and organic dairy. And actually the impact on health, there wasn't a great deal of difference. And the guys couldn't understand what was different. So then they brought in biodynamic milk. And with all biodynamic cows, they have their horns on. And what they found was the molecular structure of the milk is completely different from cows with no horns to cows with horns. So what Rudolf Steiner said was the horns on the cows give them their connection to the cosmos. So the cows gather star energy through the horns, and it actually changes the molecular structure of the protein in the milk. So it makes the milk more digestible if they've got horns on. So anyway, that's just the whole thing about community. And what happens is, of course, what me and Phil were talking about earlier with breath and diet is when you get more, you end up getting less. So as our communities get bigger and bigger, they get more and more dysfunctional. So therefore we feel all this separation. We don't feel good enough because everyone, and I remember this when I used to drink down the pub years ago. And the pub for me was such a lonely place, but yet everybody was there doing the same thing. They were all there in search of community, in search of connection, in search of meaning, in search of more. Most people didn't know that that's what they were there for. But I realized that because that's what I was there for. I was there for that very thing, looking for community, looking for connection, ultimately looking for love and acceptance. Well, there wasn't any of that because all of us that were down a pub drinking together, we were all as wounded as each other. We were all as lost as each other, all as separated as each other, whilst looking for the same thing. And that unity of wanting community is what kept us all together. And it didn't, back then it didn't matter what color you were, what beer you drank. The common thing was you were in the pub together. And that just reminded me of a guy when I was doing some EFT one day. And he said what we didn't realize was we were all sat there in the dark together.
And that is such a powerful piece to all of this and to coming out of that dream state, because it's the same thing, just kind of in a different place, right? Where we can come back to casting our visions, right? And then if everybody in that pub have just been able to stand up and be like, I just want community, right? Or I just want to connect, or this is my biggest passion is, I don't know, playing chess or whatever. Someone else in there would have had the same passion, and then there would have been connection. And that's, again, back to using our voices, casting the vision. We do that, we're going to find that connection, just like you're saying. So we don't all have to sit in the light or the dark by ourselves, you know, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
who wants to do this?
Yeah.
I
So,
love that
yeah.
about the cows too.
You know, so I used to walk home nearly every night drunk, and I used to look up at the sky and at the stars at night and say, is that it? Is that all that there is? And of course, no. There's so much more. There is so much more when you wake up. I mean, look
Yeah.
at the community. Look at the community we've got. Just the three of us, and we're thousands of miles apart, and it's community.
Absolutely. And I love that. Like when you choose to wake up from that stupor, and it really feels that way. You know, in my early 20s, when Philip met me, I was literally, I felt ecstatic and blissful every day. And I can say that so authentically, right? No drugs, nothing. I mean, not even psychedelics, nothing. I was doing raw food, and I was so in my flow. I mean, it was thing after thing after thing, right? I decided to quit my job in Phoenix, go to New York. Within a week, I had a job offer.
Wow.
And I didn't go out there to get a job offer, but I had always wanted to live in New York. And I applied, and I was one of 2 people out of 300 applicants that was offered a job. And it was just so synchronistic. And it was that space, because I was on herbal tonics from the longevity conference, right? I was on all these, you know, with Truth Calkins and Jay Denman and all these guys, right, who are slinging Jing for us. And then I got on the Health Force nutritional superfoods. I'm making literally like water and kale smoothies with not a Vitamix, which, by the way, I don't recommend to anybody. I had one water, kale, and broccoli smoothie once. And then I started dating this guy. Oh, guys, yeah, but you can imagine too, not in a Vitamix. It's like separated, and you're like, oh. And I don't know why, because those things raw are okay, but blended raw are just a nightmare. And then I was dating this guy, and I made him a smoothie. He's like, this is disgusting. It's absolutely gross, and I will not drink this. And he's like, let me make you a good tasting superfood smoothie. I was like, and I was so upset, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, how could he? And then he made me his, and I was like, okay, dude's right. Like, my smoothies are totally gross. But the point being, to what you're saying, is that when you come back to this state, there is a state of bliss and ecstasy that has nothing to do with drugs and nothing to do with disconnection whatsoever. It's all this cosmos. I was going to say cosmetic. I'm like, that's not the right word. This cosmic connection, right? It's this energy, this vibratory state you come to, and you're just so in the flow and connected, and with hyper synchronicity. And it's unbelievable, I think, to the person who has not yet lived it. But if we keep talking about it and sharing the possibility, then it becomes feasible, right? It becomes at least an idea. It becomes a seed. It becomes part of casting the vision.
Well, actually, to add to that, how me and Phil met was I was in New Zealand, and I was at some event in New Zealand, and I met this guy, and he said, "Oh, why don't you come to our house in Nelson and have dinner with us one night?" And I was like, "Oh, cool." So anyway, I turned up at his house, and he said, "Oh, we're not ready yet. Here's a book." And he gave me Conscious Eating by Gabriel Cousens. So I was flicking through this book, and Gabriel talked about the composting button. And I said to this guy, I'm going to go meet Gabriel. And he looked at me like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to go to the Tree of Life, and I'm going to meet Gabriel Cousens." And then that was in March 2004. And then just after Christmas 2005, I was in Forest Row, which is one of the biggest stoner communities in the world, actually. And there was a lady stood there called Jasmine. If you're listening, Jasmine, hello, you might do one day. And she was doing wheatgrass shots, and I was talking to Jasmine. We were at a Plawhatch farm. It's an amazing farm. And she said, "Oh, I was thinking of going to do the Gabriel Cousens training." And I said, "So am I." And she said, "Oh, it's discounted at the moment, and it starts in April." I said, "Oh, wow, I'm going to sign up." So I went home, signed up, emailed her, let her know. She said, "Vicky, let's fly out together." So, and I filled in Phil's criteria, and bang, that was it. I was at the Tree of Life within 2 months.
Oh, that's amazing. Synchronicity. It's just like
Yeah.
you ask and it's time and it's like, here you go.
Yeah, it was right there. Yeah,
So I just want to talk about activation, and where the commonality between us three is the raw food activation. And I think I remember, so I got into raw food, it was 1996, I think. And I just remember, like, I got into it and it was just like, it just activated something. It was like activated a whole different energetic in my body, and I saw the whole world so differently. And I don't know if everybody has that, but it was just like, oh, wow. And he was like, I don't know if I should share this publicly, but I took all my clothes off and ran into the forest. Like that kind of energy. I wanted to be naked, and I hadn't had that thought before. But he was like, I got into raw food, and he was like, I want to take my clothes off and run in the woods naked. You know, it's like, I want that connection. I want that aliveness, that realness. And there's like that activation. And I was so passionate back then. And I think I dumbed it down. And my mom shared it on the chat here. She was just like, I was really evangelical, really passionate. And it just like got out. I was sharing about raw food and maybe a little over the top, but there was a good side to it. I think like maybe my heart or whatever, but my mom was reminding me of a story. So my dad was a butcher. So he had a butcher shop and sold meat. And I came home from this weekend. I was reading Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. And I came home and I'm like, I'm not eating meat anymore. It's like, my dad really didn't say anything, but I kept like, I was just like, I'm doing this. And I shared it and I screwed it all up. I overread on nuts and all that stuff, but I was really passionate. I knew it was right. I knew there was truth there. I was like, this is the right thing. We should be eating more naturally. And my mom kind of got turned on. She kind of got some information, and eventually, and I got my dad. I got him on food combining. Like, hey, you need to eat salad with your meat. Don't do the potatoes, like the food combining thing. And he started doing that. And then eventually, like this one, my mom said, she remembered the story. She said, he was like, I felt like he was stuck in the butcher shop, and I was like, I got to get him out of that. And he's like, well, I got this lease, I can't get out of it. And I was like, I set this intention, and I sent out this letter to like 100 butcher shops. So it was like, this butcher shop is for sale. And like one person got back and like they bought the lease out, and my dad got out of that. And then probably like maybe 6 months later or something, maybe a year, like my parents went all raw for a while, and then they went vegan, and like they just really embraced it. It's just, and there's that passion that we like. I just remembering that passion. I remember that passion inside me. That passion came from the raw food, from the activation. And I remember all sorts of synchronicities, but that passion inspired them to change. And I wasn't mean or anything like that. I just provided the information. Sure, I was a little bit passionate sometimes, but
a bit passion infused.
Yeah, but that's reminding me of who I am. I love to share about health. Like I really just want people to be healthy, and yeah, and it's tough. It's tough out there to be healthy. So, yeah.
Yeah, that, you know, and I think Phil, that's why we're together, is because, you know, I have this real passion about everyone being the best they can be. You know, and one great route, of course, of being the best you can be is to look at what you're eating. You know, that's just kind of, that makes the biggest impact, because that's what, you know, what else do people do 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times a day, every single day? So it's bound to have a massive impact on people, what they eat and drink.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love the conversation too about passion and, you know, be over the top, like just be like so over the top. And the only refinement I have found necessary, because I was told to refine so much in my younger days, the only refinement I have found necessary at all is just making it magnetic instead of preachy, like you're saying. I remember I had these friends right after I went raw in my early 20s, and I was like, no guys, like this is the best thing ever. They're like, you can never stick to that. That's not a real thing. You know, I definitely wasn't around the community until I went to the longevity conferences and really got immersed in it. But in college, you know, you don't have people that are like, oh yeah, let's eat all raw vegan food. They're like, whatever. So that, you know, is the only piece. Otherwise, it's like just, you know, how can you reactivate it to its nth degree? Because one of my favorite sayings is, well, two. One is light yourself on fire because people will come to pay and watch. And I think that's true. I mean, don't actually light yourself like on physical. I mean, maybe, but like I would probably train for that. But that's true for every single person listening to this. You have a passion that's so true to you, like light it up, because that's what our world is seeking so deeply. And I believe that's the only true igniter. And the other thing that when you were talking about your journey with your parents that made me think of it was everybody who looks at you and says, oh, it's just pure talent, or it's just luck, or like you're just like that because you're like that. And they say that because they don't want to put in the work. And so people who put it down, right, they're like, oh no, it's just you're lucky you're like that, or you just have this energy, or you just have this joy. It's like, no, check it out. Like I check what goes in my mouth, what goes in my mind, what I look at, what I smell, what I touch, what I'm around. Like that's the living mastery. That's what that is about. It's not because you're lucky. Like nobody, I mean, sure, there are some people that are just born like really, really enlightened, but there's like 3 of them on the planet right now. Like everyone else gets to live the mastery, right? And do the things that just guide us there. And it is easy. It is easy once we know. Like it's literally like I'm buying this superfood and putting this in my mouth instead of buying this hamburger or whatever. And we're not here to say do and don't eat specific things on this podcast probably, but just in general, right? Like I'm just going to do this instead of this. It's just a supplement. Like we're just substituting. That's it. And so it gets to be fun and delicious and blissful.
Yeah, I just wanted to add there about your being lucky, because people often say to me, oh, yeah, but Phil, you're so lucky because you can do X, Y, and Z. And my response used to be, have you got any idea how hard I've worked, how much discipline I've had, how much I've missed out on X, Y, and Z? Have you got any idea? And then I was listening to someone talking a couple of years ago, and they said, when someone says to you, yeah, but you're lucky because it's X, Y, and Z, you know you've made it. Because, you know, on a level, I am totally lucky because I don't have to work at it anymore. I don't work at being a raw food. I don't work at eating raw food. I don't work at making healthy choices. I don't work at choosing organic over non-organic. I eat a raw food diet. I choose organics wherever possible. I choose nature. I just choose. So actually, I think the 3 of us are incredibly lucky because we just do our thing now. We don't have to go, oh, do I have burger and chips or do I have a smoothie? We just make the smoothie, right? There's no, yeah, it's almost like for us, it's almost like there's no choice. The same as for them, there's no choice. And for us, there's no choice. You know, I don't make a choice. I don't go downstairs and think, oh, am I going to eat healthy today or am I going to eat shit? Do you know what I mean? There's no choice. I just do it. And I think that actually, in that respect, I think people, when they get to that point, especially like us 3 now, because I know that we are really lucky. And I think we're really blessed because we can do our thing. And you know, that's like, that's the ultimate blessing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is the ultimate blessing. And I love that you're bringing that up, that you're again, just further casting that vision of it, like luck will bestow anybody that chooses. And the very real reality for so many people is that we are still in one of the, like in that choice space, and it can still be so hard and so painful, and the mind can just really go there. And so it's like, okay, and like we see and hear you on that, you being whoever's listening, right? And like Phil's saying, like, you'll feel lucky one day where it's not even a thought. And Bo Eason has a book out called No Plan B for Your A Game. And he says, after 66 days, which is, it's common science and knowledge now, but after 66 days, on day 6 of doing something, on day 67, it is harder not to do it than to do it. So if we just are like, all right, for 66 days, print a calendar, and just say every single day I'm putting my X on there and I am choosing my smoothies over my, corn puffs or whatever. And I am doing the thing for on day 67, it will be so much harder to go back to the corn puffs. You will have to put effort into it, because that's when our bodies are aligned and they're conditioned. And it happens, I think, way faster with the raw foods and the superfoods, because you're vibing so high. You're like, I feel so good. Like, I cannot risk this, right? I can't risk coming off of this.
Yeah. And it's, you've got the choice of juice, smoothies, fresh food, feeling real, or crap food, feeling shit. They're your choices. To be really blunt, guys, that's your choice.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I feel so energized and joyful. How are you guys feeling?
Doing good. Yeah.
Do I feel really blessed and really lucky to have made this choice, and to have badgered Philip, and then Philip just all of a sudden saying, oh, let's do it tomorrow. What do you mean? We'll do a show tomorrow. It's like, wow, okay. So how blessed were we? So this is now our third show, and we haven't done 66. This is our third one, and it's like there's no going back. So actually, what just reminded me now, when I was fasting, I started body brushing. I think I've shared this with Phil, and I've kind of flirted with body brushing over the last 25 years, and I've done it for a week, 2 weeks, a day, 10 days, whatever. And I just never got it. I just didn't understand it. And I've been doing it now, I can't remember, 6-8 weeks. And I was saying to my partner, Kay, it's amazing. I'm getting more skin off now than I was 6 weeks ago. But my skin has completely, I wish I'd have met someone that was passionate about body brushing 20 years ago, because it is just, my skin is just lit up. It's electric. And now when I get up in the morning, body brushing is like cleaning my teeth. It's like, sometimes I get up and have to do something, and I start to put my clothes on and think, man, if I put my clothes on, I'm not going to brush. So that thing's going to have to wait. Clothes come off, I body brush, then I get dressed properly. But if anyone's flirting with the idea of body brushing, don't flirt, just do it. And don't worry about how you're doing it. Don't get it perfect. And don't worry about all these moves you're supposed to do. Just brush your body with a body brush and do it. It's like when me and Phil started the show. If we'd have worried till we got it right, we wouldn't be doing this show. We wouldn't be bringing you this amazing information. We just did it. And sure, by show 66, we're going to know what we're doing. But we're just doing this stuff and we're loving it. And any practice, body brushing, smoothies, juicing, superfoods, going to bed early, breathing, just do it. And don't worry about the rules and the regulations. That'll come in time. Just do what you feel like doing.
Yeah, it's like an activation. Mike posted what Gable Cousins talks about is we're becoming a superconductor for the divine energy, or whatever that is, universal energy, light energy. And as it's activated, so in the world today, we think we need to set these goals and do this and go, oh, well, I need to do this to be healthy. I need to be on this diet and I need to do this. And it's like, when we activate with raw foods or it's like it kind of tunes in this superconductor body divine, and we start to pull in the information, and we start to be guided by an inner thing. And I think the world today is like, oh, we got to look outward. We got to go to school and get education and get information, when it's probably the reverse. It's like, as we activate our soul, the information's coming from within. And there's like, you don't think, oh, I need to eat healthy. It just is. You're being lived by that, lived by love, as Gabriel likes to say. It's like, well, of course I'm going to eat these beautiful figs. Of course I'm going to drink grapefruit juice. Of course I'm going to eat greens. And I'm going to eat healthy. And of course I'm going to eat organic. It's not even a choice. It's not even a decision that you have to make as you activate that energy and trust. Like, because we've got a lot of resistances, but when you tap deep down, it's like, yeah, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to get some sunshine. But you're not really thinking about it. You just, because it's what you need to do. And then when you get off course, which we do, as Gabriel Cousins likes to say, we get slimed sometimes where we mess it up. But then I think we come back. Like, I've been pulled out by all this, the world, the energy in the world. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. I got to reconnect. I got to go into meditation. And just before this, it was just went into meditation. I just slowed my breath down and just tuned in and went into the silence and was like, okay, reconnect. Yeah, for sure. So,
Phil, on that note, shall we, because it really feels that point. Do you want to do a little meditation, or get your tuning forks out, or
yeah.
And I'll get the drum. The drum.
Any comments, Tara, before we jump into a little? Tara, any comments?
Just thank you guys so much for having me today. It's been amazing connecting with you both. I feel like I could probably talk to you for the next 5 hours. So thank you again so much for what you're doing and the love and light you're sharing with the world. It's so needed. I will go ahead and mute myself so you can wrap up, and my wind chimes in the back don't get in the way. But thank you again. Much love.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just do a little tap on here, Phil. It's a bit out of tune because it's cold today. Can you hear that, Phil? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Can you hear that, Phil? Cool.
Let's just take a moment to connect with our breath. Slowing it down. In and out through the nose. Just see if you can slow it down even more. Just focus on that breath coming in through the nose, feeling it. Exhaling through the nose. Slowing it down. Just feel a smile upon your face, smile in the corner of your eyes, and sink deeper into that energetic, that heart space, where your passion, your joy, your love, the non-causal joy, the non-causal peace lies within you. Sending deep roots down into the earth energetically, and then a vortex of energy spiraling up from the earth into your body. And then connect above your head, and a spiral of vortex of energy spiraling down through your crown. And these two vortex meeting in the middle in your heart space, exploding in love and passion and joy. That wisdom, that peace that you seek is within you. May from this day forth you share with passion even more. You share your soul even more. Know that your soul is pure. You are brilliant. You are bright. You are incredible. Just feel that energy. Feel that truth. Know that truth. Coming back to the breath, slowing it down. Beautiful breath, breath of life, spirit of the divine. And as we connect into that space in ourselves, that grounded, connected space, send that frequency of love, that frequency of peace and joy out to the whole planet. Maybe starting with your home, your local community, your family, your friends, sending them so much love right now. Anyone who you feel needs healing, send them love, send them joy. Send them what you're feeling right now and spread it out to your greater community, your town, your country, surrounding the whole planet in your love, in your light, in your joy, in your passion. We're all connected, we're all divine, we're all creators. May from this day forth, we create even more, create more joy, more passion, more love in ourselves and in those around us. Giving thanks that it is so, giving thanks and gratitude for this moment. Gratitude is the ultimate prayer because it's giving thanks for what is. We're giving thanks for the truth of what is right now. And then just bringing yourself back into this moment, bringing those good feelings, that joy, that love, that passion, bring it with you, bring it forth into this day for the rest of this day or evening. Know that you are loved, you are beautiful, you're courageous, you got this. Aho! Yeah.
Thank you, Phil. That was
You're welcome.
beautiful. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that was
I
good.
love doing this.
It's good stuff.
Get to hang out with lovely people.
Well, good. I think that's a wrap for this show, right? We have potential. Go ahead, Phil.
I said thank you, Tara Rose. That was amazing. Really appreciate it.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. It was an awesome show. So.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right.
See you again.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We got some exciting plans coming up for the next show. I don't know if you want to tap into that, Phil, or if that's a secret.
Wait, no, I'm waiting for a reply.
Okay. We'll keep that a secret for now, but we got some exciting speakers lined up for upcoming shows.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
All right, I'm going to end the show. Thank you. We love you.
Thank you.